Episode 5. You're not late, you're being built. You ever notice when something is being built? I mean, really built. It usually takes longer than people expect. I see it all the time in my remodel business. We start a project, I almost always project it farther out than I think it will take. Because the experience has taught me something. It's better to respect the process than rush the results. Nobody walks past a remodel in progress and says, wow, they're taking forever. No, we assume something important is happening, something that needs a foundation, something that has to last. But when it comes to our lives, we panic. At the first sign of delay, we start comparing times. We start comparing incomes. We start comparing marriages. We start comparing relationships, opportunities. And before long, we quietly start telling ourselves a dangerous story. I'm behind. But what if you're not behind? What if you're being built? Let me explain something most men, including myself, didn't realize and don't realize until later in life. Speed impresses people, okay? But foundation protects you. A lot of the men you thought were ahead were just early, not established, not anchored, just early. And life has a way of revealing the difference. When I was younger, man, I thought success was about timing. Now I know it's about readiness because arriving early without the maturity to carry what you ask for can and will destroy you. This is why prayers probably are not answered. Some blessings show up heavy. Heavy requires preparation. And here's something we don't really talk about enough as men. Preparation often looks like delay. Preparation often looks like delay. And I know that personally. Because in the remodel world, when a job runs longer than the homeowner expected, it's usually not because nothing is happening. It's because something important is. And while you're being shaped, it can feel like you're being skipped. I understand. While you're being positioned, it can feel like you're being overlooked. While you're growing, it can feel like everyone else is passing you by. But remodel sites, if you notice, are messy for a reason. You ever noticed it? There's work going on behind the scenes, behind what the client can see. And here's where most people struggle. We don't mind hard work, right? We mind not seeing progress. You know what we hate more than anything as men? Really, as people, is waiting. Because waiting feels like nothing is happening. Men will wait 5 minutes at a red light and start looking for alternate routes like a Navy SEAL. But maturity teaches you something. Just because you're stopped doesn't mean you're stuck. Let me speak directly to the man who's listening, who feels behind. Maybe you started fatherhood late. I did. Maybe marriage came later. Maybe your financial stride came late. Maybe purpose didn't show up until you were in your 40s, 50s, perhaps even your 60s. But listen carefully. Late does not mean lesser. Sometimes late means you avoided the mistakes because now you have the wisdom that you didn't have to survive earlier. And I've learned this. God is not casual about what he entrusts to you or to me. Some doors seem to open only after your character can hold the weight behind them. Because opportunity without character is a liability. To everything, one writer wrote, there is a season. Not a competition, a season. Fruit that grows out of season, and I know a lot about this as a manager for a wine company, never tastes right. Ugh. Let me tell you where men get in trouble. We get in trouble when we start comparing. We talked about this in the first or second episode. Comparison will make you dishonor your own path. It'll blind you to the work God is doing inside of you. And worst of all, it can rush you into rooms you're really not prepared to lead. There's nothing more stressful than being somewhere your maturity can't sustain you. Now, let me circle back to construction. When a building goes up, the deepest work is invisible. Steel, rebar, foundation, load bearing structure. Nobody applauds that part. People clap when the glass goes up, but the glass doesn't hold the building up. Character does that for men. At 25, you want visibility. At 40, you want stability. And at 60, you want legacy. And legacy is never built fast. So let me calm somebody's spirit down right now. You probably feel like you missed your window. You didn't. Actually, you're probably standing in it. Everything we've talked about, everything that you have walked through, every closed door, every unexpected turn, every season that forced you to grow was putting tools in your hand. Tools younger you did not have. I guarantee you, patience, discernment, patience, control, conflict resolution, the list goes on. Those tools change how a man leads his family, how he moves in business, how he responds to pressure, how he makes decisions. And here's the shift that I want you to make today. Stop asking, why is it taking so long? Start asking, who is this season building me into? Because the man you're becoming is more important than the timeline you imagined. And let me give you a truth that freed me. Delayed does not mean denial. Sometimes delayed means protected. Protected from immaturity, protected from ego, protected from decisions that, quite frankly, you weren't ready to make. Protection rarely feels good in the moment. But later, you thank God for it. Second wind is not about starting over. It's about starting stronger, wiser, clearer, less driven by ego. and more guided by purpose. So if you feel behind, lift your head. Construction is still happening. And anything God is building in a man, he builds it to last. Quick success is like a loaf of bread, a carton of eggs, fragile. But built men are not. Let me leave you with this. The world celebrates early birds. We'll look at the NCAA tournament that's about to start. And all the hoopla is around freshmen. 4 or 5 of them projected to be possibly number 1 in the draft. But there's a guy at Texas Tech. I don't know if he's a senior, but his name is Toppin, left-handed kid. Solid. He is the best player I've seen this year, and he's not a freshman. But he's solid. He's done his tenure, and he's prepared. He's ready. And quite frankly, heaven respects prepared men. So don't measure your life by who started before you. Measure it by who you're becoming. Because when a prepared man finally arrives, he doesn't have to chase respect. He doesn't have to chase respect. Respect recognizes him. So you're not late. You're being built. And built men don't panic when the process takes time. Trust the construction. I'm K.R. Henderson. Truth with oxygen. And this is Second Wind.